Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome to our wonderful episode of the published and paid live broadcast. You all have the opportunity to see this live, and then you'll get the audio in a few weeks. So I am so excited today because today we have a special guest. Cameisha Brewer. She is an amazing member of our published and paid academy, and she also has her own therapy practice. And I'm just so excited to interview her today about her business, her book, and all of the amazing things. All right, so Cameisha, welcome to the virtual stage.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about our conversation.
Yes, yes, yes. So, me too. So, yes, please introduce yourself to the audience.
So, I'm Cameisha Brewer Dickerson. I am a licensed professional counselor. I practice down south, so I'm in Central Arkansas area. I love what I do. Background in education, so I left the classroom to be able to practice and work as a therapist. I've been full time in private practice for about 4 years. I have no intentions of going back, and I'm thankful that financially I don't have to go back anytime soon. So now I get a chance to work with therapists and teach therapists how to set up, structure, market, and scale their solo mental health private practice in 60 days. So I have courses, I have a podcast, I have coaching programs, and it's been amazing.
That is absolutely phenomenal. And I think that the business that you have built is just astounding as well, because just in the work that I've done over the past few years, I have spoken to a lot of therapists, worked with therapists, and there's always this confusion. Like there's like they're on a tightrope where it's like they feel bound by being a therapist, but they want to do other things and not really sure how to expand into that. So how did you even get into creating your own therapy practice and then expanding it into the solid business that you have now?
Yeah, so my route to private practice was a little different. I have a mental health consulting business. So my background is in education, but it's also in psychology and youth and family ministry. So I've always wanted to be connected to the community, work with churches, work with nonprofits, still teach because I enjoy teaching. But I noticed that even through teaching, there were mental health challenges in the classroom that I could not do anything about. Like I can't address it. I wasn't even though I was clinically trained, I hadn't passed the boards yet. I was working in a preschool at the time, but it was all behavior. And so I wanted to be able to
Mm.
work with the parents to teach them what to do with these behaviors. We had children, early diagnosis of like autism, cognitive processing disorders, speech delays. They were in occupational therapy. And I'm like, a lot of this is lifestyle and management and
Mm.
education that the parents needed. And so I decided to step out of that, finish my training, pass the boards, start practicing as a therapist, do the 3,000 hours of supervision. And so I started working for an inpatient psych facility. I worked with adults, but of course I wanted to go back to kids. And so when I worked on the inpatient psych unit for children, I noticed that I was not getting paid enough for what I saw. So a lot of the Title I school district kids that had behavior problems ended up in inpatient psych and still couldn't do everything I wanted to do to really help those kids and those families. There's only so many hours in a day. There were too many kids on the caseload. The acuity was high. It was very violent, stressful, breaking up fights all day. And I was like, I need to get out of here. And how fast can I do it? My clinical supervisor told me it would take me 2 years to build a
Mm.
caseload. I was like, "Sir," and granted, he's an older white male, didn't really understand. I'm like, "I don't have 2 years of working in this type of clinical
Right.
setting with these kids." So I was like, "What can I do?" And he was like, "Well, you gotta learn marketing." I'm like, "Say less. Let me learn marketing." And I learned marketing quickly. I filled my caseload and I was out full-time private practice within a few months. So I knew from the beginning
Mm.
I wanted to be in private practice, but I knew that the gap was just the business and the marketing because there are no business and marketing classes in graduate counseling programs for therapists, which is insane. But we are literally taught how to work for agencies and work for facilities or school counseling. And I was not interested in doing any of those things long term.
Mm. Mm. That's so deep. Like I could we could go off with just on a whole questions about that, but I just think it's phenomenal, what you were able to identify, like what wasn't going to work for you, and you pivoted from that. So from that, what made you decide to actually write a book? And yeah, tell us about your book.
Yeah, so first book, or you want to start with the second book? Because that's a whole thing.
Well, I know that you wrote a book in the Published and Paid Academy, but you came in, you had already written and published a book. So, like, what was that journey for you from your first book and then deciding to then write a second book?
Yeah, the first book, it's called Thought Life Confessions. So it's inner conversations of anxious, successful women. And those are the type of women that I serve in my private practice, and I still do. So it's
Mhm,
women that are in leadership positions, high functioning anxiety. No one knows how anxious they really are because
mhm,
they're great at their jobs and they're thriving in their
mm,
career, but they hide the perfectionism, their control issues, the fear. They just show up and do it. So those are the women I wanted to serve. So my practice was full and I couldn't serve anyone else. So I wanted to create a resource for those women. So I was following you on Facebook and Instagram. I watched all your YouTube videos, but
mhm.
budget wise and mindset wise, I wasn't ready to work with you. And so I did the best I could, indirectly being coached by you. And it was okay, but I didn't have the sales I was looking for. And so when I decided to write the second book, The CEO Clinician for Therapists, I wanted to make sure that I had a good marketing plan. Everything was
Mhm.
rolled out the way it needed to be. I had solid funnels in place, and I knew that there was no other person on the planet to help me get that done correctly beside you. So, like, there was no other option for me because this is what you do. And that's what I had seen you do consistently for years. So I was like, yeah, this next book, she's my person. I'm in.
And so I know that you said that you weren't ready and initially. So what was that transition between like getting like not being ready and then actually saying, "Okay, I'm ready now."
Yeah, I think it was a God thing, honestly, because I had been on your email list for years and I had seen you promote, I think it was like the skyrocket your book or your
Uh-huh.
coaching business. Like I had seen you promote the workshop, but I was just on the email list. And because I was not ready to write the book, I didn't register. But something about last summer and I saw it, I was like, I got time. Let me just click. And because I like hearing you teach. I think that's the teacher in me that enjoys hearing other people teach.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I was listening, and I think by day 3, like, the Lord was really loud about what I needed to do, even though I personally had no interest, and God was like, "You need to write this book." And it was I didn't need it, honestly, like, I had courses, I had coaching programs, I was making money, nothing was wrong, I didn't need more money, but I was like, I don't feel like writing a book." Financially, it wasn't the best timing, we were moving and buying a house, but he was really loud about the timing and what I needed. I now understand now,
Mhm.
we're almost a year out for why I needed the book then, but it was just a God thing. I had so much peace about it. Everybody that week was super nice. I got a lot from the Facebook group, all the other coaches that were on the impact team at the time. Great relationships. I'm like, these are my people. I don't know why these are my people. I don't feel like I need people. I'm super introverted. So I'm not the type of person that's always looking to be in a social type setting where you can learn. But I'm like, it's something about these impact folks and I like them and I want to work with them and I want to write this book. So that's how it went for me.
And you came in, and can you tell us about the book that you wrote
Yeah.
in the academy?
So, it was rough for me just because I had written a book before and I needed to unlearn and undo what I had done the first time
Mm.
and still like honor my values, honor my vision, and understand who this book was for, which was a completely different audience this time. So I implemented everything you taught, like chapter by chapter, how to structure my chapters, how to get all of the ideas and the key points and tie each chapter together to make sure that the manuscript was cohesive. I did that. So now I have this incredible book for therapists who are new to the business of private practice. They have no idea how to set up their practice. They don't know how to structure it. They don't know how to transition out of working for an agency. They don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to position themselves to get more speaking engagements, to grow their practice, or to enroll people in their courses and coaching programs, like whatever they decide to do in their business. This book is like an entryway for them. it's
Mhm.
it's the first step for them. They get to learn more about me. I've included strategically placed podcast episodes in each chapter to give them more resources for them and action steps. And so for the therapists who are just starting out and don't have a budget to work with me one on one, they can start with the book. And that was a huge piece that I was missing in my business model and offer suite. And I didn't even know how big of an impact it would be. So now when I go to pitch about a speaking engagement, when I tell them I have a book, it's an easy yes, just because I have a book. And I didn't know how many opportunities I had missed by not having a book for the audience I was targeting.
Oh, I want to dive into that when you
Yeah.
said that you didn't realize how many opportunities that you missed by not having a book for your target audience. Like, what exactly, can you give us more insight into that? Because you said that, you would send the email, but now you were automatically getting more opportunities just because you had a book.
Yeah, so some of the conferences for therapists, and I learned this in the academy, some of the conferences, like, yes, there's an opportunity to be a speaker, but once they have filled the slots to be a speaker, like, unless you have other products, then there's not really a space for you. If you're a
Mm.
therapist, you would just go and sit and listen, get your continuing education credits like everybody else, and go home, turn in your certificate for your license, and like that's it. But now that I have a book, I can be in the room on the side, even if I can't get on stage. But I've also learned the strategies of how to get myself on stage once I get in the room. But being in the room and having the book, now I can go as a vendor. And when I'm there as a vendor, I get to meet other people and I can tell them about my therapy practice. I can tell them about my courses. I can tell them about my coaching programs. And then by the end of the day, usually I'm already booked to be the speaker the following year just because I got in as a vendor.
Yes.
Or other people, they're reaching out for the opportunities they want to collab on a podcast. All of that happened because it was a conversation starter. And I got a bag. I got a new bag that I always keep with me that has an outside pocket. So I always have my book in the outside pocket, which makes people ask me questions, even at the nail salon. Like, are you a therapist? Let me tell you about it. Oh, you're not a therapist? Oh, but your sister is? Okay, look, tell your sister about this book and now we can have a conversation. And it's been really good for me because I'm introverted. So I get a lot
Right.
of opportunities by just having a physical book in hand to share with people.
Listen, that key right there, just about being able to have a physical book and positioning it different ways. Like, listen, I'm going to put this on the outside pocket where people can see it. Like, sometimes what I'll do is when me and my husband go out to eat, I'll bring a book and sit it on the corner of the table. Like,
Yes.
it is a conversation starter because people will come and then they'll look at the book. Oh, is this you? Did you write this? Do you have a business? Oh, I have a business too. And then it just starts a conversation. You end up making connections. You end up networking with people, selling books that, just from being out. And so for you to be able to for you to use that strategy or whatnot, I'm gonna put this everywhere I go. I'm gonna put it in the outside pocket and I'm gonna let my book talk for me without me having to say it, and then we'll go from there.
Yes. It's been amazing.
So let's talk about the writing process because you finished your book fairly quickly
Mhm.
and you've been making a lot of waves with your book. Your book has been bringing up creating opportunities for you, increasing your income and all the things. A lot of people have the assumption that unless it takes you a long time to write your book, the book isn't going to be worth anything. What would you say to that?
I think I think people need to like write the book in a way that makes sense for how their brain works instead of how other people tell them to write it. So even the tips that I learned in the academy about being able to do like the voice dictation and transcription, I feel like I'm a much better speaker than trying to sit down at the computer and type because my brain doesn't work like that. I'm a speaker. I talk all day. I teach. So if I can be on a walk on the treadmill and get my manuscript out, then that's what I need to do. And in the season I was writing, that's what had to happen. We had a lot going on, like buying a house, moving around. We had all these phone calls, all these people calling meetings, and I was still seeing patients. And my husband's like, babe, they need this document. They need that. I'm mid paragraph writing a book, but I'm like, it's going to get done and I'm going to send it to an editor and it's going to be fine. So I think for people, I understand like the reservation and not feeling, I've never felt strong in like my grammatical skills to be able to proofread and put commas and periods in where it needs to be. And my mom was an educator, and I think that's just some childhood trauma too, because she was an English teacher, so she was always
Always
on
on
me
you.
about my writing. And I'm like, this is not the time for me to be insecure about writing. I need to just get it out. And once I got it out, it increased my confidence to know that I have put my thoughts and my intellectual property that I store in my brain, I have put it on paper to help somebody. It's going to change their life. It's going to transform them. And once it's out, it's out. There's nothing for me to do other than market it and get it in the hands of people that really need it.
Yes, yes, I absolutely love that. And I one of the things I love that you said is that you have to write the book in a way that works best with your brain. And I think a lot of people do hit writer's block because they're trying to use these antiquated methods instead of really leveraging technology. And which is something that's especially important for those of us who have a lot going on. Our brains are going in a million and one directions, and we feel pressed for time. Like, I can't imagine, like, right now, even I'm in a doctoral program and I'm got a lot going on. I can't imagine sitting here trying to type everything out word for word. I'm like, and so I like the fact that you utilize those strategies to accelerate. One of the things I heard you say was that even being on the treadmill, writing your book, and making sure that you got it done. Um, and so the writing experience, you chose a method that worked for you. So you weren't new to the publishing process, but was there anything different for you that you learned in the academy?
I learned more than anything that it didn't have to be complicated. I think because I worked with a completely different team the first time, and they were amazing. It was a different book for a different audience at a different time period. But this time around, I learned with the videos that were in the academy, because everything, I'm a visual learner. So having the step by step, click here, type this in, you're going to see this page when you get to the next screen. It helped me to feel more independent and confident in my ability to do this again. And one of the things I really appreciated about you was in the videos you said, y'all can do this in your own coaching programs. Like, it didn't feel like you were gatekeeping because you taught it to us. Like, it's a skill that anyone who wants to publish a book needs to have, but it's also something that we can pass on to the people that we're serving, which may not be ready for Jasmine. They may not be ready for the academy, but it's still something that we can use going forward. And I felt like, okay, this is a life skill for my business. So if I ever get in a situation and I need to publish anything, I have an idea of what this process looks like, and I feel confident in my ability to do it. And if I have questions, I know where to go. I know where the phone numbers are. I know where the emails are. I know how to navigate the website when I get there. And it just helps with fear and anxiety about my ability to be able to do it again or help someone else who's interested in doing that publishing process as well.
Yes, yes, that's so good. That is so good. And so, were there any specific techniques that you learned in the program that you found beneficial?
I think what I found beneficial was just the structure of the program. Like, I'm
Mhm.
one of those people, I'm a doer. I like to get stuff done. I don't join coaching programs for the people. You know how some people join it for like small group Bible study, women's group kind of vibes, which is cool. But most of the
They
time, like,
join for friends.
yeah, like, I ain't looking for that. I came for the strategy. I'm trying to figure out what's the play I need to run so I can make it work. And so what I learned from your programs and the structure of, they're amazing people. So if I ever needed to be social, like, I can DM anybody right now. We'll chat, we'll have a good talk, and we do, and I appreciate that. But the way the program is structured, I've learned that every module builds on the next one. And it's so important to be disciplined and to be accountable and not get behind. And so it's one of those programs that's like, when you go through it, you need to do it when you're on it as it's being taught in the month and the call that we're on. Because 3 months from now, there's going to be more things added, and it can feel overwhelming if you don't stay on top of your stuff. So I appreciated that, because I've also been in some, this is no shade to other programs. I've just learned how to screen out coaches based on how my brain works and what I need at this point in life and business. I've been in coaching programs where I felt like I was starving because like you eat a
Mm.
little bit, it's one call, and then there's nothing to do until the next call. I want to
Mm.
rewatch stuff. I want to watch new stuff. I want you to add stuff to keep me. First of all, it's good value, but I like learning. And so if I'm just waiting on the next call because I've already implemented, I get bored easily. And so
Mhm.
I didn't have time to be bored in the academy. I'm still going back, rewatching videos because there's so much in there, but it's not overwhelming if you do it as you go and you just get it done.
Right, right. I love how you said managing your time, staying focused, making sure that you're doing it and basically making it a part of your routine. And I think and to that point, I do believe, like a lot of people will get in coaching programs and feel like because they've paid, the work is done,
Mhm.
or because they even watch the video, the work is done. So, how did you make the bridge between actually watching the curriculum, showing up on the live calls, and then doing the work? Because for some people, they'll say, okay, that's overwhelming. That's a lot. So, how did you, with as busy as you are with being married and having a thriving business and private practice and coaching clients, still were still able to prioritize the learning process and the actual implementation process?
Yeah, I learned how to multitask. So on the days where I'm in the car and I'm on the road and I'm busy, I would listen to the academy videos through the app with the Kajabi app. I don't need to be in my office sitting down at the computer looking at you to learn. Like I know what you look like. Like I'm like I know Jasmine, but I need to hear it. So I had my AirPods in. So while I'm doing laundry, cooking, whatever, I was listening to the academy videos and I still do. But I think that's just how I'm naturally wired. I like multitasking. Silence is good for me, but when I'm in a coaching program, it this is I don't know what the terms are now, but it's not lifetime access. Like you don't get forever to sit in a coaching program and stall and say, "Oh, well, I'll get to it when I get to it." If the program is over and you're going to lose your access or you have to pay more to continue to access it, for me, I need to get it done. And I need to learn and I need to listen because that's what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to be in a program where I'm just not doing the work. And so having the balance of like sometimes I know that if it's a Monday or a Tuesday and that's when we're going to have coaching calls, then whatever you teach, I know that night I'm going to do it. And the next morning, if I didn't finish it, I'm going to finish it. And then we're done because I have to move on through through the rest of the week. I can't
Yes.
stall and say, "Oh, well, I know I got this thing. I got homework." Like even from the call yesterday, I'm like, "I know I have homework. I'm going to get that done today as soon as we get off
Those
this
50
call."
videos.
Yeah, like I got stuff to do. And I know that y'all are teaching things that are going to help me move forward in my business. And what I'm learning in the academy helps my family, helps my family to help other families and to be a blessing and to financially contribute to church and mission trips and other projects that matter. And I can't do that if I don't implement and I don't make the money that I need to have extra to be able to contribute to those things. So yeah, it is very important for me to get things done and implement and schedule my time to get everything in.
I love how you talked about how you doing the work is going to help your family help others. It's going to help your family be able to support mission trips, help others accomplish your common goals. And I think that, and I say this a lot in our free workshops, we focus so much on getting published that we don't focus on the monetization and getting paid enough. And you have just blown that out of the water. So let's talk about getting paid now that we've talked about getting published, because I understand that you have a private practice, you had a coaching program. However, when you came into the academy, we saw some room for growth on sales. And so, what was that experience like for you?
The experience, it was stretching for me. Because I thought I was because I had the numbers to back it up. So I was doing well in my business. I wasn't at the startup stage anymore. It was just some opportunities for me to grow, but I needed to raise my price point. And I thought that once I raised my price point that I was going to lose my entire audience. And granted there is
Mm,
a number, right, where you can outprice the people that you're
right.
serving. Everybody has a number, but I wasn't close to my number. And so I raised my price, my $500 for one of my offers, and it was fine. Nothing happened. And then I'm like, "Huh, if I went 500 more, this would allow me to do this with my family or contribute in this way or start this over here." And I raised it again, and nothing happened. Like, I sold more, and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me," 'cause it let me know that
You
I had
sold
left.
more when you increased your rates by $1,000.
I did. I did. I'm like, "So these therapists got more money than they acting like they got," is what it taught me. But it also taught me that there's a way to position the offer and just be conversational, and I appreciated, like,
Mhm.
all the resources and the book we're currently reading, about the psychology of selling, like, I think I have, like, 3 chapters left. I'm gonna finish that too today because I know it's almost the end of the month, but having the confidence to monetize and to honor my values and my time, and
Mhm.
so it was scary for me because I was doing well and I didn't want to lose people because I went up one more time. But the academy also helps me to see all of the moving parts of a thriving consulting business. When you're a thought leader and you're an expert, if you have a team, you got to pay the team. Well, when you charge more, you have more to pay the team or to give the team a bonus incentive so they will stay on the team. And I like that. I like to be able to keep my people, offer them bonuses and incentives, but I have to have extra cash flow to be able to do that. And so, looking at my business and looking at all the moving parts, looking at all the expenses and the tech behind what we do, all these subscriptions and the software and the services, if they raise their prices, I need to offset that if I'm going to keep my profit margins at a certain place. And so the academy taught me how to look at all the moving pieces of my business and not just lowball myself and
Mhm.
leave money on the table, but also honoring my values and not being one of these typical coaches out here that's just putting a number on something and they don't have the value to back it up.
Mm.
And so
That's a whole different we could do a whole a whole episode on that alone. Raise
so
your rates, and
yeah.
that's it.
Like, it's gotta be value, and it has to be integrity,
Yes,
and it has to be worth it because I know that when people invest in me, they're taking money out of their household.
yes,
And sometimes I
yes.
tell some therapists, they're like, "Oh, I'm a single mom and I don't have it and I can use child support." I'm like, "No, no, ma'am. No.
Right.
Wait on that. You wait and save and we'll work it out later." But that, no, especially when I know that's what it's gonna take for you to work with me, my heart won't let me do it because I
Mhm.
know that money needs to stay in your house. I do understand sacrifices, but everybody's just not in a position to make those type of investments. And I have those conversations doing a sales call to make sure it's a good fit because I don't
They're
wanna be
qualified.
stressful.
Right, they have to be qualified, and actually that's a qualifier, like, some people really just don't have it, but that's who your book is for, and
Yeah.
that's who your podcast is for, and your free content until they're able to get into a space where they have, that additional, income where they can invest, and so, just to do business in integrity and one of the things that I hear you saying is ethical sales.
Mhm.
Ethical sales, I think a lot of people shy away from or they tend to be scared of sales. And one of the things that you said is that you learned how to make sales conversational and not feel like pressure. So how was that, like how was that different from what you may have done in the past or what you may have learned in the past?
Yeah, with the academy, I started learning how to do business and convert people via DM and not have to do the sales calls. Even though I offer them, like sometimes people, they're like, no, I don't need a sales call. I'm good. I know what it is. I've asked my questions. I'm sure I appreciate attracting people who have done their research on me before they ever get to me.
Mm,
So
yes.
it's not even, me having to introduce myself and try to convince them. It's not that. It's just, this is what it is. This is what it looks like. These are the results you can expect if you do the work. Here are the testimonials of the therapists I've already worked with. I got all that organized, and then they make a decision. And it was faster. I didn't have to I believe in the follow-ups, but I don't have to like chase people down anymore to get them to do what they said they wanted to do. Like they came to me. I didn't go hunt them down and send them like a cold DM. They sought me out. And so the way I started showing up helped with my sales and it helps with the strategies from the academy because I was attracting different people, even from raising the price point. Because I think
Mhm.
I remember listening to one of your videos that you did about how we look on video. Like I can't be in a t-shirt and a hoodie with no makeup looking like I just rolled out the bed selling a $3,000 offer. I can't do it. And if I saw a coach who looked like that and didn't value how they looked, I wouldn't spend money with them. I just wouldn't. And so
It
those
just
little
is what it
things
is.
matter.
Like, you know, and it is, and we're reading that in our book, in our book of the month. Like, your appearance sells for you, and this isn't to be superficial or anything like that, but your appearance is branding. You know, your background is how you show up. It speaks and it sells for you, and it can um attract or repel a client. It just is what it is. And so, um as far as you're comfortable, what have been some of your beyond the book monetization success, in regards to your program? Because I know that you did hit some milestones, just as far as you're comfortable sharing publicly.
Yeah, so the milestones have been amazing. I'm still hitting record-breaking months, and I don't work over 20 hours a week. So I've literally made 3 times more than what I was making as a therapist, working 50, 60 hours a week and seeing clients in the evenings. I don't do that anymore. And I love what I do. When I look at my bank account, I'm not stressed out anymore. When taxes are due, I'm not worried about it. I've implemented, the profit first method with my CPA. Money goes to where it needs to go. And I really get to just enjoy being Cameisha and loving on people and taking care of my family, hanging out with my in-laws and my nephew and my sisters, and like I ain't worried about the money anymore. And that has been game changing for me. Like, yes, consistent 5-figure months now, but it's not a stretch to get there anymore. I used to panic about it, like, am I gonna get there? The month's almost over. It'll be there. People are on payment plans. I know how to enroll people quickly. We've got funnels moving, we've got book sales coming, and it's just there. I run the reports and I'm like, this is life now. Like, we in a new tax bracket now for real. And life is different, and I'm so grateful, and I know that it is literally by the grace of God being connected to you and to the other people in the academy and just learning what life can look like when you do the work. Like, I don't have to rewrite my book. I just have to continue to market it. I just have to continue to position it and train now other people on my team on how to sell the book as well and get more opportunities. And I enjoy that because I get to do what I love every single day. So these new milestones, I'm learning how to accept them as this is my life now. And I plan to be here for a very long time.
Listen, I literally had tears welling up in my eyes. You probably couldn't see it from your end, but when you said going from 50 outside, the money is great, but the quality of life
Hmm.
to go from 50 to 60 hours a week to 20 and be able to live and exist and enjoy and breathe.
Yeah.
you know, that is that's such a blessing, and I want to thank you for sharing that. I do. I want to thank you for sharing that with us. So, Cameisha, please let everyone know about your book, where they can purchase a copy of your book, where they can follow you, and if they want more information about you and your services, how to contact you.
Yeah, so the easiest place, I hang out on Instagram and LinkedIn most of the time. So it's at Cameisha Brewer on all my social media platforms, including Facebook. There's a group for therapists. It's called the CEO Clinician Community, and it's for people who have the book, who have subscribed to the podcast. You can get on the email newsletter, and it's cbrewerconsulting.com/start, where you can see all the resources that are available. And I'm super friendly, y'all. So y'all can DM me if you have any questions. I'm happy to chat, send you a voice note, and we'll just see what happens after that.
Thank you so much. And this concludes another wonderful episode of Published and Paid Live, Published and Paid Podcast. I said the live. You guys make sure that you like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this with a friend, with your community, and with your network. Until next time, peace, love, and impact.